Hey, good morning. This is Diary of a Coach, episode 47. And this episode is titled Suicide, the Federal Government, and God. In the last 48 hours, sequel to the conversations around suicide and the, compatriots who died, there's been a lot of social media, conversations around suicide, and it's beginning to become a concern by itself. By the way, there is a condition called the weather effect. Weather effect. WERTHER effect. The weather effect. And he says that when suicide occurs and is being publicized, there is a tendency for an increase in suicide again. So we also need to take note of the fact that the more we publicize and talk about suicide, the higher the tendencies that people are becoming more educated on how to take their lives. So I'm particularly concerned about the fact that I hear people say suicide is not an option. Suicide is not an option. Well, I'm sorry to bust your bubble. Anything that makes a person choose a decision, any decision that a person can choose is automatically an option of several decisions. The moment a person can choose to do something, it is an option in itself from several options. What is not an option is what you are not aware of. What is not an option is what you cannot do or choose. But the moment you can choose to do something, that in itself is an option. So the thing we should embrace, the knowledge we should embrace is that suicide is an option, but really it does not solve anything. Taking your life, now let me also address something. We normally say someone committed suicide. That is a technical flaw. When we say people commit suicide, that is why the Nigerian government criminalizes suicide, which in itself is wrong in neuroscience. When a person takes his life, which is the right way to put it, someone takes his life, not someone commits suicide. Commission in law is offense. But suicide in itself is not an offense. When a person comes to the point where they want to take their lives, we need to understand that there is a fundamental sickness of the brain. It's a place where a person has decided that there is no worth in living, that there is no sense in living, and that person has a problem. No one in his right frame of mind, with the right mental strength, with the right sense of support, would choose to take their life. No one. So when a person comes to the point where they want to take their lives, then there is a fundamental problem. It means that that person is not in his right frame of mind. The person has suffered to the point where they want to deaden the pain. They want to exit the pain. That is a sickness in itself. It's a condition that we need to concentrate on. We need to focus on how to rehabilitate such a person, not how to criminalize the person. That is why, because we have criminalized suicide and we have criminalized, this perspective that people can take their lives, is why even when people take their lives successfully, we judge them, we curse them, and we tell them, why did he have to take his life? He's such a weak person. He's such a coward. He's such a this and that. It is that perspective that has affected us. And that is why some people will say, anybody that commits suicide will go to hell. Anybody that takes his life, will go to hell. That is an unfortunate situation, let me tell you. See, God is not man. None of us has successfully taken our lives before. All of us that are alive have never successfully taken our lives. So where do we have a reference that when someone takes his life, he goes to hell? I have some perspectives and I want to share. My personal belief around anyone who takes his life is that it is just a symbol or a sign that you don't have belief in the God that you serve. Is my personal opinion. My personal opinion is that when someone attempts to take his life, it means that his situation and reality overwhelms his belief in God. Now, when your situation and reality overwhelms your belief in God, then you can say there is no point. This situation, I can't continue like this. I want to go. But when your belief in God is bigger than the reality of your situation, then you know that I may not know the ending. I may not know how this will play out, but I have a God that stands with me. That was the story of Job. His situation, even by us reading it in scripture, it is overwhelming for us that are reading it. How much more he who was in it. But he had a belief in God that was bigger than the reality of his situation. And so if you understand that your situation is not bigger than your God, the option of suicide may not be something you will submit to. Now, this is my personal opinion. But even at that, I know that God is a God of intentions than actions. In scripture, he says that the man looks at the outward, but I, God, I look at the inward. I look at the motive. I look at the intentions. Now, I do not know. I'm not God. But guess what? I know that God would do an analysis. What led to this child, to want to take his life? What brought about this decision? Perhaps God would forgive. Perhaps God would even understand. But we are too quick to say, God will send you to hell. If you take your life, you are going straight to hell. You don't own the life. It's God's life. Why did you kill yourself? You are going to hell. I honestly cannot say the same thing. I do not know. I just know that God desires for us to believe in him. And when you have faith in God, he is pleased. When you do not have faith in God, he is not pleased. If that is the standpoint, then I can ratify and say God can take his own decisions. But I think it is a flaw for us to think that we can threaten people who want to take their lives by saying they will go to hell. Don't focus on the consequence. Focus on the rehabilitation. When a person has come to the point where they want to take their lives, what they need is hope. What they need is love. What they need is acceptance. What they need is accommodation. What they need is understanding. What they need is options, more options, and more options. If you have the means, they even need support. They need the money, they need the food, they need the shelter, they need the car, they need the environment, they need the change of environment, they need a job, they need anything that can become a succor in the short term is what they need. They don't need our sermonization. They don't need our judgment. They don't need our curse. They don't even need to be imprisoned by the government. No. When we do this, we push these people more into vices. That is why substance use and drugs has escalated, because people are looking for ways to deaden their pain. They're looking for ways to kill the pain. They're looking for ways to not feel the pain. We don't need this for Nigeria. We don't need this for our world. So, if you're watching this episode of Diary of a Coach, please rearrange your thinking, reprioritize your thought process, and understand that 1, suicide is an option, but it does not fix the problem. 2, the federal government should please switch from penalizing and criminalizing to rehabilitating. We need more centers and agencies that sell hope than frustrate people. Then number 3, God himself is the decider on the intent and motive of anyone who chooses to take his life. You are not God. Stop playing God. But most importantly, be an agent of loving. Be an agent of forgiving. Be an agent of understanding. Be an agent of accommodating. And be a seller of hope. Be a giver of hope. And by the grace of God, even you will never be a victim of the situations that can press you to want to take your life. I hope this episode makes some sense to you. Kindly share this video if you don't mind. More people need to hear this message. Thank you, Stella, for joining my video. Idenyi, this video, the title of today's episode was inspired by my friend Idenyi Emmanuel Shaibu. I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me a spark on this. Moshokpe Oluyemi, thank you. Good to see you. Fola, good to see you, my friend. Adenike Olufadeju, thank you for joining. Engineer Yusuf Babadidi, thank you for joining. Faith Obafemi, thank you for joining. Esther Efamoru, thank you for joining. Banker, my friend, Thank you for joining. Chizota, how do you feel now? Hope you feel better. Thank you for joining. Daddy Andy Heme, thank you for joining, sir. Jume Adinoyi, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Hebziba Irabo, good to see you. Thank you. Sunday Tari Daniel, thank you for joining. Adebayo Ibukun, thank you for joining my video. I totally appreciate that you joined. Please don't forget to share. Pastor Daniel Udo, thank you for joining. Please do not forget to share this video. Please share this video. Duru Godwin, thank you for joining. Good to see you. Please share this video. That is very important to me. Let more people watch it. Innocent Usa, thank you, sir, for joining. Kindly share this video as you join. Thank you for watching episode 47 of Diary of a Coach. On episode 50, I'm going to give prizes to my most consistent viewers, those who started from the beginning. You know yourselves. So let's count down to 50. Thank you and have a wonderful Friday. It's a beautiful weekend already. I love you. Goodbye.